Hi, I'm Julie Garcia Briseño. I'm an actress, director, and filmmaker, and today I'm the co-host of Real Women, Celebrating Women in Film. Today, our special guest is Brenda Daly, who is the host of Real Women. We'll be talking about her first feature film, Rogue Angel. Take a look at the trailer.
I can't seem to escape the terrible things people do to each other.
Every time something happens at your family's mind, someone always ends up missing.
You seen Daddy?
I don't want him anywhere near your sister.
Let's just say some things you say between family.
Oh, like between you and your dad?
You killed him.
I will kill you right here!
That was great.
Thank-
Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was a ton of work, but I was one of those things that you do in life that you think, if you're ever given an opportunity to do something, you just kind of have to go with the faith that you can do it, you know, because we always work so hard to make our films and our short films and be creative, and I feel like that's super important. If you're ever given that opportunity, and I think you can almost will that opportunity, I think you should definitely take it and not worry about, you know, what everybody else is doing. You know?
Right. So tell us a little bit about, tell the viewers about the 777 challenge.
So I was working on a microseries called Mom Squad. I had just crowdfunded it, raised all the money, and I was given a call, and I know you were, and Tamia Dow was also, because they were looking for women filmmakers, and I know there was a couple others that I know of, but they didn't have a lot of women applying, so they were getting kind of panicked a little bit. So we did get a call from a friend of ours, Ronnie Nanos, and he said, "Oh, you girls should all apply." So I was working heavily on Mom Squad, and I thought, oh, you know what? I didn't think I'd get picked, but I thought I'm going to just sit down and write a letter and tell them why I felt like I should be picked. Didn't expect to be picked. I felt grateful that I got picked, and so yeah, but it was definitely a process I think we all went through, and because we all had to show our story idea, which I didn't use because I felt like the story idea that I had actually pitched him would have cost way more money than the $7,000, because it was, you know, a feature film in 7 to 10 days with $7,000 and 7 crew members. So, and I just said, okay, I'm going to do it. And then I was very happy that they had asked me, because I know you had applied, because Julie was actually our assistant director, and then my daughter was the second AD. And I felt like, you know, we all went on this journey together. And so I felt it was important. And it wasn't just the filming, it was all the angst that I had about writing the script, and you girls like really helped me with that part. And then of course, then I threw that script out, and then I went in and I took that idea, and I think I was literally rewriting it, and we were casting it based on the first script, but I was rewriting it as we were casting it. And then when we did the table read, the script still wasn't up to par, but I felt like most of the actors kind of understood that. And I asked for feedback, and some gave me some great feedback. And so it just kept evolving until the first day of shooting. And so I think as a filmmaker, especially in my circumstances, because we had a date that we had to start filming. Like we had a drop dead date. And I made that my goal because I tend to be a little ADHD. And so I have to have a goal. So, and I felt like you girls kept me emotionally steady and just kept, giving me ideas to work off of and bounce ideas off of. And so I really appreciate you for that because it was very important to me. I'm not one of those people who say, oh, I can do everything, because I know I can't and I really don't want to. And so to get the opportunity and then to grasp that opportunity and then bring the people that you love and care about and you trust is very, very important to get something like that done in such a short period of time.
So talk about some of the challenges while on set.
Oh, challenges on set. Well, I found a beautiful location. A very good friend of mine, Robin, offered up her place because everything was done in the woods. But unfortunately, it was on a slant. And she didn't have electricity or running water. So, and of course, we're in the time of COVID, so we were definitely bringing up gallons of water and lots of sanitizer on top of food to feed everybody. And it was literally a steep climb. But fortunately for us, that was the tough part. The good part was it's such a beautiful location, and we filmed everything on her property because it was supposed to. I had called the ranger, and they said that there was no way they were going to let us film up there because it was going to be during fire season, and so the rangers weren't going to allow it, and it would still take me 6 months to get a release from them to do it up there. So and then I said, well, what if I went at my friend's house? And they're like, okay. They go, you can do that. So that's what we did. So we literally took every inch of her property and used it and reused it and used it and reused it. So, but it was definitely a challenge and tiring because I'm not the youngest person.
And what is the story that you hope to tell through this film?
So I really probably went way too far with it, but I really wanted to make it feel like it had a big budget, and I wanted to show what I could do as a filmmaker, so I went maybe really overboard. But the story I really wanted to tell was, first of all, growing up as a kid, my father was always the villain in melodramas. He loved to play in melodramas. He was very dark, Jewish man, and they always cast him as that. So I grew up watching my father play the villain in probably 6 or 7 melodramas, and he did them over and over and over again. So I felt like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a modern day melodrama, but put it on film. And I think that I did it. I mean, it read like a play more than it did a movie script. But I felt like, we had this sweet little ingenue, and we had the bad guy, who just happened to be her dad and her brother, but they were the villains. So we had definite protagonists and a definite sweet, innocent, tied to the railroad tracks kind of person in there. And then we had the lovable sheriff, right? So, and then of course but my key element was to take the main character who was a very strong female, because I know that when you and Brenda and I had talked about characters, we really felt like we really wanted a very strong female character who was badass, which I feel like we accomplished because Jackie Gahardy is about as badass as a woman you could find. And we really wanted to highlight her she was the anti-hero because she did things that maybe you shouldn't do, but she did it for a little revenge because some of her childhood had been taken away from her, and she also did it for the sake of her sweet sister, and so that is where my whole melodrama goes, And I wanted to make sure that I also highlighted other women of all races and nationalities as strong figures, So we did, they weren't in a lot of it, but every single woman in there, except for maybe the grandmother, were. And then in the end, you find out that she was also a strong woman overcoming something. So all the women in this film were overcoming something, or they were just strong women doing things to help others.
Right. Right. So do you hope to get back into acting? Because Brenda's an actress as well.
Yeah, I am doing some acting. I'm doing, I'm a character actor for the most part, so I don't really care if I get leads. I really like having those 1 or 2 day shoots. I like to meet people. I like to play all these crazy whacked out characters. I think it's just me. I think because of my type, I usually play the villain, which is fine with me because it's fun. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of work. I'm doing some commercial work, but I've been taking a class on the business of acting because that was something that I was missing. I'd been acting since I was 9 and been around it my whole life, but I didn't really know what it took to be a working actor. And I feel like we're in a time where technology needs to meet your mind base on what old school is, casting is like. But now we have to relearn how to be actors. And I'm not just talking about the art of acting. I'm talking about the art of the business with acting. And I've also used that for my directing skills because I learned in this class I'm taking, I'm doing HWC and I'm an affiliate for them. And I believe in them because everything that I've learned for my acting, I've learned for my producing business and my directing business. I've taken everything that they have taught me and they've basically taught me the business of business. But I don't think people realize that.
Right. So what's next for you?
What's next? Well, I'm finishing Mom Squad because I never really got to finish that because I thought I could do both. And I did a couple episodes, but it just didn't seem to, my heart wasn't in it because I was so involved in Rogue Angel. So I'm going back and I've decided to take the Mom Squad instead of making it I'm going to make it a feature film. It's what would happen if the wrong women had to save the world. Julie's in it, and my friend Donna Fisher-Gray plays G-Mom. And it's still women empowering women, but I think we're just the wacky women of our time, and I really do love comedy. So I'm just trying to take all that I've already done and fill in the spots that makes it work as a feature film because they were supposed to be individual episodes. But now I feel like because I've done a feature, I want to make it a feature, and it's fun. So I don't know if the webisode, the YouTube thing will work for this as far as monetizing, but I feel like a feature will help monetize what we've done. So
what message do you have for other women that are trying to get into filmmaking?
I think you just need to do it. I think if you have a passion for it, you need to, even if it's just online, get in those groups like Clubhouse. Like I've met so many people on Clubhouse I have not met in person, but when you talk to them, they are open and helpful, and they want to know what you're doing because whether you're a first timer or you've been doing it for 20 years, we always have something to offer each other. And so just get out there and do that. Do it with your iPhone or your cell phone. I feel like the cameras on those, you can learn the angles and you can learn visual storytelling with them. And, because I do host Real Women, I've met women that have made movies on their iPhone and they've sold them for a profit. So don't stop. I would say do a first couple, short films just to kind of get your feet wet. But I think you need to get to the feature film faster than you thought because that's where the big learning curve is.
So what's your ultimate goal then as a filmmaker and actress?
My ultimate goal, I think, is just to tell a good story and that make people go, wow, that was, or an unexpected story. I feel like Rogue Angel's very unexpected. I feel like I really like to show that creativity in me. Like I'll probably do something totally different. My next couple films, I've got a horror western that I really want to, once I've done with Mom Squad, I really want to do that. I think the opening sequence is really well written. And there's a couple of other story ideas that I want to do. I was going to make them minis like the original Mom Squad, but now I feel like I can make them features, but they're comedies. One's called The Shit Show. and it's about an old town radio station that now turns into a podcast studio, and all the crazy characters that are involved in this town. So that should be super fun. And so I've already made the poster, so I'm excited about that. And as far as acting, I'm pretty open to do just about anything in acting. I like meeting people on set, and I think for me, the acting gets you to learn more about the filmmaking part. Because I feel like I think I'm a good actress, but I think I'm a better filmmaker. I don't know why. Problem solver. I like puzzles. That's what it is. I like puzzles for sure. You know.
So you do all this and you make it look easy. So what do you do for fun?
I make movies for fun. What do I do for fun? Well, I spend time with my family. You know, I think you have to have that work-life balance. And I think that, and I write a lot because I live in my head. So I wasn't really like the popular kid. I never saw myself as, I was always kind of the standalone because so I don't know if it's because of being the youngest or because we moved around a lot when I was a kid, but I always feel like I always look for that story. Or if I watch a movie, I always think, wow, you know, it would be a great story. It would be the story inside that story. So I'm always, and I enjoy it. Don't do this if you don't like it, because you're just going to be wasting your time and get frustrated, because it's frustrating enough when you love it. So, and I like learning new things. So I feel like filmmaking for me is definitely a no-brainer because I like the whole puzzle of it all.
And what's been your favorite movie most recently that you've watched?
I just watched Elvis, and I have to tell you why I love that movie. I felt like, you know, as far as the story was, you know, it's the story of Elvis, but I felt like I'm a big musical theater person, and even though there was no like musical theater part, I felt like they did it like that. Like they did it like old Hollywood, bigger than life. I felt like that was super important. A friend of ours is in that movie, but so I kept looking for him. But the larger than life was just, it was like almost old cabaret, but with Elvis. I mean, you can't lose. Oh, and I just watched Jurassic World, and I love the fact they brought back all those characters of my childhood. And then, of course, the new people from the last 3 films, those were all new people. And then they brought back like Jeff Goldberg and so Laura Dern. I just love them, and they put them all together, and they still made it better. I think it was the best one. I don't know why.
Great. I haven't seen that one yet.
It's so great. You have to watch it. It's on Peacock. So use that one for sure. Yeah.
And so where do you see yourself when you're 100? I call myself Latina Betty White because I want to be in this business until I'm 100.
I want to be Betty White, but I want to do Lake Placid again. I want to dip my feet in the water and play with the tiny little alligators. I don't know. I think she's iconic, and I think I agree with that. She's probably one of my favorites. As far as women in film are concerned, I really love Bette Midler has always been a huge favorite of mine, and Barbra Streisand. I grew up on Streisand movies. That was always my mother's favorite. So, you know, and I do sing, so I feel like those were like, that was the dream, right? I want to be Bette Midler, Barbra Streisand, and just take over the whole stage. So I want to make a musical theater film. I just haven't figured out what it is I want to do with that yet, you know.
Well, great.
Yeah.
So thank you for being on your show, Real Women.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for doing this, Julie. I really want to tell everybody that I'm really looking forward to having Julie on as a guest host when she can, because she's super busy. But I feel like, you know, she definitely brings a different flair and personality. And so I want you guys to really embrace her, because I think she can add a lot to the programming.
This is Real Women, celebrating real women in film. And today our guest was Brenda Daly.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap, people.